Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. I have one of the most unique broadcasts I think I've ever done. And that is because the guest I have is someone who does not typically do interviews. But somehow we were able to get him into the studio today. I want to introduce you to Bobby Vitality. Bobby, thank you for joining us.
Lance, my honor and pleasure. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while. Mercedes, you're with us today?
I am.
Yes.
Excited to be here.
All right, so the reason why I'm saying this is because every time that I try to get you out, you're helping get someone else on the platform. You're recommending someone else. And what makes it interesting is, so Bobby is one of those people. I've got like two people in my world that I would say are the level 10 experts in their field. And that says a lot in this area. I've got a group of business people that I have committed myself to doing a mastermind with. And those people are paying like $25,000 in order to build their business.
That's a good deal.
Right? So here you said, so it's a real labor, but it's an investment because these people want to build their business. So it's a lot of pressure on me because I want to make sure they're getting exactly what they need to do. The challenge is, where do I go? So I go to a guy like this. And Bobby Vitality is the guy I go to. So he's the mentor of the mentors. And to be honest with you, I think you probably have the biggest track record of creating successful entrepreneurs of anybody else that I know. And you have a wealth of wisdom in terms of how you structure the world around you. But so when you start talking about your own personal life, your own health, your own calling, I'm fascinated with where did this all start? And what shocks me is I meet Bobby in Florida and find out that we both grew up together in Philadelphia, but we're living in Dallas. So I had to literally go to Florida to find someone who lives in Dallas that I grew up with that I never met till God arranged it.
Yes.
So your journey, though, in business is one thing. You wouldn't have that if it hadn't been for the fact that you discovered something about the mystery of life and death, and you have your own journey with God.
Yes. That
is this. Why is it that of all the subjects you could be interested in, the wellness and health field is the one that is your calling and mission? What is it about this that pulled you in?
Well, we all know that your health is your greatest wealth, right? And to me, wealth is well health, because you could have $10 billion. And if they tell you, hey, you have 6 weeks to live and there's nothing that you can do, you'd spend that money in a New York minute, in a Northeast Philadelphia minute. Right. You'd spend that money and then you borrow more to get your health. So your health is your greatest wealth. For me, it started back in the 60s. Back when we were literally living almost in the same neighborhood, right? God works in so many mysterious ways. And I watched 12 of my family members literally suffer and struggle. And ultimately, they all died, right? And they weren't dying in their 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They were dying in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. What I now know to be, I call them PLDDs, preventable lifestyle-driven disease. Not something you've caught, but something you've created by the decisions that you've chosen to make, or even more important, the decisions that you didn't make, that you knew you shouldn't make. So when I was watching this, it just really ripped my heart out. I knew it wasn't natural. I knew it wasn't normal. I knew it wasn't right. And that's how God shaped my life. So when I saw this, I was heartbroken. Right? And so I decided to become a student of wellness, right? And I started studying medicine, not as a doctor, but I started studying 3 types of medicine. Now we call it smart medicine, or God's medicine. And smart medicine, simple, safe, and transformative. Always. So I started studying mind-body medicine. It's a real medicine. Some people think it's spooky dooky, freaky deaky, but it's a real field. It's called psychoneuroimmunology, right? It's the science of the study of how your thoughts and your emotions impact your physical body and your health and impact your DNA, right? When I used to do large seminars all around the country when we were first starting back in 2015 and 2016, used to ask everybody, mind, body, medicine, how many people believe? So, especially in Christian seminars, very few people would put their hand up. And I just basically say, move your finger. Can you move your finger? Your mind controls your body. So mind, body, medicine is so important. And you all know it's scriptural, right? Be constantly renewed in the spirit of your mind.
Right.
Do not be conformed, but be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. So that's so important, mind, body, medicine. You've got to master that, all right? And then lifestyle medicine. I didn't even know what that was. But lifestyle medicine is how you choose to live the seconds, the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the decades that you will call your life. Right? What are you going to do during the dash? Everybody has a dash. Go to the graveyard, everybody's got a dash in the middle of that. So it's what are you going to do during the dash? And lifestyle medicine is really what do you eat? What do you think? What do you meditate on? What's your environment? Are you doing what God's called you to do, that predestined and foreordained? Do you exercise? Do you move your body? Because movement is a nutrient, right? But really, what I saw was regenerative wellness or regenerative medicine. And that's what level 10 matrix is, regenerative medicine. Because our message is really simple, just like the gospel is really, really simple, right? Our message is the power that created you is the power that heals you. That simple, knowing that, right? Knowing that you are marvelously and miraculously made, and that healing and regeneration has already been encoded in your DNA. Get a cut on your finger, you don't heal it, right? Your body automatically heals it. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. You don't even have to think about it. Thank God, because I'd forget and I'd die, right? Your immune system is amazing. It's constantly fighting off invaders 24/7, right? It's protecting you. Your brain has the storage capacity of a supercomputer. You are marvelously and miraculously made, and healing is encoded in your DNA. Many times our sick care system, hate saying that, right? Maha, right? Maha, make America healthy again. But that sick care system is focused on disease. It's not focused on healing and health, right? So I like to tell your listeners how grateful I am that y'all have committed this to wellness, level 10 wellness. Taking your life to the next level.
Well, we had to, which is really why that providentially we met you. And Annabelle's been a student of, I say I'm the curator in the museum of every kind of scholar or device, Dr. Tennant and various other ones. I mean, guys that we've heard. And but she's been after it because of her own pursuit. People have their own, God uses the challenges in your life sometimes to get you in alignment with your calling.
Yes.
And I want to ask you in a moment about how you ended up it's almost like the calling of this. There are people that are called to when I do the 7 mountains, it's always interesting. The only group I always have had a challenge with historically are the doctors, because they don't relate to any mountain.
Right.
They see, and I understand now why, they see the medical or the healing or that area of health as a calling. And they don't want to call it education, even though they teach it. They don't want to call it ministry, even though they're Christians.
Yes.
That's their field. Folks, what we're talking about is an exciting subject. It could transform your life. It can literally flip it today. Go to level10matrix.com. Call 1-800-361-2270. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, just write the word matrix. Don't interrupt yourself. Just write the word matrix. I want to send you a 39-page, 40-page booklet that explains a lot to you. And Mercedes, why did we start focusing on level 10 wellness? Because you're the one that got the word from the Lord about 2 years ago and said, we got to go there. And I thought, I almost resisted it. I said, why would I do that? I mean, we got a lot of plates. And it's because of the priority of our people finishing the race strong.
Good. Definitely. I mean, well, for me, it's just, I look around, we were doing the Crusades with Mario, and it's just shocking the amount of people who are there, and they're like, all right, who needs healing? 2/3 of the tent, their hands start going up. And my heart, I mean, kind of like what Bobby was talking about, like my heart just starts to break. You think, Lord, we want to shift nations. We want to take mountains, but people are just surviving right now. Like, this isn't right. And then I have a lot of for whatever reason, most of my friends are over 60. And I'm like, I want people to finish and run the race with me. Like we need you guys. I need this older generation to run alongside. It's more mature generation. Probably shouldn't say older, but I look at it. And so the Lord put in my spirit, like, you need to have a health summit. You need to start inviting people because there's missing pieces. There's information. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And there's information that's missing. And people just need this piece or that piece. And maybe it's diet. I mean, maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's supplements. But honestly, maybe it's just degeneration. Maybe it's just your body and it's time. And all of a sudden it's just things are kind of breaking down. They're not feeling like they used to. And like you said, it's like we got exposed to Bobby, to the level 10 matrix, and it's been life-changing in my life. And we play testimonies all the time. We'll play one a little later. Life-changing, transforming. Personally, my eyesight got better in both eyes. I mean, it's phenomenal stuff. And so I look at it and I say, we want to bring you at home. We want to bring you these resources. And, you've had level 10 for years. And I had this like maybe a couple months ago, that the level 10 life is the regenerated life. It's the regenerated mind, spirit, soul, and body. And to me, level 10 matrix is a regenerated body. It helps people in that way.
Excellent.
Bobby, I got so many questions I want to ask you based on what Mercedes just said, but I'm a student of convergence, which is how people enter into their calling and assignment, destiny. And level 10 living is really about convergence. But you can't run your race if your body breaks down on you. Nothing's more frustrating than to be in the Olympics and then to twist your ankle and you can't run. And it's happening. The Olympics is the calling on your life. And it's like, man, if you have a financial problem or you have a physical problem, two ways the devil will take you out. But did you enter into this calling as a result of any kind of a crisis, or was it just an aha moment? Or like, what happened to you that bridged you into this, into the boom, I'm all about healing and the supernatural?
Great question. And I think health and wellness is prophetic. And what I mean by that is it's about prophecy, it's about fulfilling your destiny, what you've predestined and foreordained to do. And if you don't focus on your health, you'll never possess what you're not willing to pursue. And if you don't focus on your health, okay, it's your greatest wealth. How are you ever going to get there? We see so many people that as they get more mature and get more mature, I like to talk about problem and solution. And then I'm definitely going to direct an answer to your question, Lance. But the problem that I found out is degeneration or degeneration. And I looked that up in the dictionary, okay? And Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary, I didn't go to Google or anything. Webster's, and I looked it up, and the definition of degeneration, and that is the problem. It's at the core of every issue. A lot of people say it's inflammation. Not incorrect, but incomplete. Degeneration, the definition means to break down, fall apart, go into disrepair, be less than your former self, or to decline mentally and physically. That's what I was watching my family members do. That's what I watched. My precious mother graduated in 2012, went to be with the Lord. My father, 2014, went to be with the Lord. The problem was degeneration. But then I looked at the second definition. You know, they have a 1 and a 2, and it was to be morally corrupt. Right? To be a degenerate. And I was like, wow. And I heard on the city of my soul, I heard, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And I felt led to look up the word regeneration. And that means to build, grow, and create new tissue, right?
Really?
And your body already knows how to do it. Your body's doing it 24/7. It's how you came from being a baby. It's how your beautiful granddaughter now is growing and creating. And that's what's happened is stem cells. Regeneration is already encoded in our DNA. We just get to reactivate it, refresh it. But then I looked at the second definition of regenerate. And it just, wow, blew my mind. It said to be born again.
Really?
To be born anew.
Webster?
To be born from above. Webster's New Collegiate, yes. And I thought, wow, and I had an epiphany. Like I literally had a visitation. That's when I was commissioned to do this.
Wow.
And to share this message of hope and healing with everyone I know, everywhere I go. Our mission is simple. We're transforming lives through simplicity and truth. That's really what, and that's what the gospel did for me. And I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying to me, hey, you've already committed your life to my gospel. You've already committed your career, your business, and everything. I'm showing you something now that other people have, but I'm going to show you in a special way and how to keep it really, really simple to transform other people's lives. He said, my body needs to be healthy. Right? That's when I decided I'm going to take all my other companies, put them on the side. I'm going to do this. And I really didn't want to. And I was a little confused because I thought, Lord, my mom in 2012, if I had this then, she might still be around. She would at least had a way better quality of life or had her life extended. For me, it's about being younger and stronger for longer. Looking and feeling younger never gets old. When I first did this myself, on a scale of 1 to 10, my health is a 26. But I believe in practicing the power of prevention. I believe in taking care of that degeneration before it turns to a sickness, illness, or disease, practicing the power of prevention.
And, you know, and we had in an earlier show, I learned that if you look at the stem cells like a bank account, yes, they're multiplying all the way through. And I was telling this other guy that it looks like all the testimonies of people you meet in heaven, they're all around their 30s. I said, I really think that that's the peak of your physical, you know, anatomical, self-regenerative power. And then you start as you're getting towards 40, 50, it's easy to see.
Oh, yeah.
You start to lean down. Now it's when you start to have challenges. This idea about the bank account, imagine if you got an infusion of these cells that go in and they flood the bank account so that you're able to continue to pay off the bills on your body. You do the other stuff along with that, and the quality of your life will change. I want to play a video now that I have not seen the video actually, but I know the person. My wife Annabelle is kind of a miracle in herself. She encountered a woman at the eye doctor's, curiously, crying because of her son's dying condition, dying of a failed liver, and he couldn't get a liver transplant. Annabelle, in her compassion, I don't know how she does it, she ends up connecting with the woman, praying with the woman, you know, getting her to Jesus, and then getting to her son. And I want you to hear the testimony from Keith, because I know this young man. When I saw him and met him, he was yellow. His body was swollen. And Annabelle had him coming over to our house because he really had no place to go. And he had propped up his swollen legs. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's too young to go. And it's the first time I've seen what happens with liver failure. But I want you to take a look at him now as he gives his testimony.
My diagnosis was actually liver failure. I had cirrhosis of the liver. I still do. Yeah, my name's Keith. I received the Matrix, I believe. I had 2 so far. So first one was about 4, 5 months ago, maybe 6, to be honest. And then I just recently had another one, probably a couple months ago. Just fatigue. My skin was looking bad. My eyes were horrible. Just overall not so well at all. After the Matrix, probably within the first month, actually the first couple weeks, I started feeling something physically, emotionally. I have a lot more energy. I'm going for walks and stuff now. I wasn't able to do that before. I could only walk maybe a good 5 minutes and I was exhausted. My legs were completely ready to give up. Now I can go for, seems kind of crazy, I can go for like a mile plus walk if I want to now. And then about a month after into it, it was like, hey, there's something going on here.
Wow.
Wow.
Folks, I know that young man. He deliberately came over to the optometrist. Ever since I started taking the Matrix, I'm always curious to see if my eyes are getting better because I actually dropped the contact lens. I no longer need one in one eye. And so I go every year to check it up. Unlike other people to check it up, see whether I'm losing it, I wanted to see if there's any improvement. And so he was there to intercept me. Yes. And I didn't recognize him because he's just sitting there like a kid in his 20s, you know? And I looked over and I said, Keith? And he jumped up and hugged me because he's getting his life back. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Bobby, that's the miracle. I mean, we see you see this more than me. I'm new to this.
I pinch myself. If I wasn't right in the middle of it, I wouldn't believe it. I believe it's the greatest healing revolution that I've ever seen in my life, and more and more and more and more and more. It's how I got started, right? I got started back in 2016 when a doctor shared this with me, and I was like, wow, it sounds too good to be true. And then I just kept taking the most challenged people I had down there. And it was in Florida at the time. That's all we had. And I just kept taking these people down there, and they'd get touched. They'd get healed, delivered, set free, and made whole. I knew it was mastering the flow of supernatural healing. I knew it was resetting, reviving, restoring, refreshing, renewing. Love to be able to tell you how. We can tell you all about the science, and it's real. We can tell you all about the process. It's simple, safe, convenient, effective, affordable. But those results are undeniable, and you can't argue with results.
You can't argue with the testimonies. And Mercedes, we now work our own list of people that have been working with us to get their testimonies. Because
Oh yeah,
I mean, I want to believe everything I see, but I always check these people that I know.
Oh yeah, well, and we only bring you people that watch the show. So like people that you see on testimonies here. I mean, these are people who've received the Matrix, have had a result, and said, I want to tell you about it. I got to tell other people about it because you also need to get a hold of it. So I want to encourage you, if this is your missing piece, go to level10matrix.com, and right there's going to be a little box. You put your name and your email in, and you can download. Right after that, you download. It's called Stem Cells Made Simple. It answers 98% of your questions. And what we'll do too is we'll have a staff member call and follow up and get you all the information that you need to see if this is the right thing for you. So level10matrix.com, put Matrix in the comments. We'll make it super simple, send you the link too. And I want to say one other thing before I just bounce around. The other praise the Lord testimony is not only was his physical body regenerated, but because we went to the optometrist the other day, you know, the mom's telling me, like, I'm walking with the Lord again after this. Keith's getting his relationship with the Lord. He's walking with the Lord again. And so when we talk about the regenerated life, his spirit's regenerated. He's met Christ. The mom has met Christ. I mean, that of all things, it's like, that's the thank you, Jesus, you know? So it's fascinating to see how the Lord ministers through it.
It is. It is. And if I wasn't right in the middle of it, I wouldn't believe it. It's like I pinch myself every single day that I get to be a little part of this, and that I have something to share that can transform the quality of someone's health and life. Now, what is Level 10 Matrix? Well, it's simple, safe, convenient, effective, affordable, and can activate your wellness within.
And I think there's something that I've wrestled with, Bobby, that, and it just goes to show how your teaching really does. You got to transform by the renewing of your mind. And your mentality is so different in the whole realm of the subject of disease and health. I mean, you've got a whole different way in which you've renewed your mind on it that I'm always fascinated by. When I went to Oral Roberts University working on a master's degree, there was a big controversy back in the beginning because he had these two hands on the property of sculpture. And I came out of a church that was old school, Signs and Wonders, Pentecostal, came out of the Branham, A.A. Allen era. And they didn't even believe in, going to the doctor. They believe in divine healing. And they said, we had a problem with Oral because he has the hand of man and the hand of God coming together. And that was, God doesn't need a man's hand. And I remember that training. Their problem was when Oral Roberts got the revelation that we need to have Christians that are in the medical field, Christians in science and technology. Christians don't need to be afraid of the world system. They should excel like Daniel and go to the top of it.
Amen.
But he was ahead of his time. Sure. And the old school Pentecostals were the hardest ones because they said Oral's gotten away from his, God didn't need a man's hand in the tent meeting. Yeah, but everybody also didn't get healed in the tent meeting.
Right.
And so there's and then you don't dismiss doctors because we had them down there at our level 10 wellness. We have the best and they're Christians, spirit-filled cardiologists talking about what you got to know. One of them raised the dead in a hospital. In the hospital. If the medicine didn't work, he just commanded the life. He was raising the dead there. So, but let me tell you something. It took me a while. I'm finally making peace that God is saying, hey, I want to expand your life. Yes, you're praying. Yes, you're believing. How do you know this isn't coming into your life to be an answer to your prayer? That I'm giving you access to that which will extend your life. Bam, it comes together. And that's what this is. Go to level10matrix.com, call 1-800-361-2270. We're out of time. but we're not out of energy, and thank God for that. I want you to go to write Matrix in if you're watching on Facebook and Instagram. And Bobby, I'm going to ask you to stay over just for a little bit because I got to ask you this for another show. You guys got to hang on and watch this one when it shows up. You've seen thousands of miracles and lives change. I want you to tell me the stories that stick out because you have Rolodex. I want to hear the ones that are the most wild ones. And I want to hear you answer the question about, what do you say to a skeptic that doesn't believe? And I might even throw this third one in there. How does this actually tie into physical healing? Tell me how the spiritual and the material actually fuse together. But you'll have to watch that on a future broadcast. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are